Dr. Shweta Tripathi, Assistant Professor in Mechanical Engineering from SOET IGNOU, New Delhi. I welcome you all in this module, Application of Bioenergy in Transportation Sectors under the MOOCs of Energy Resources and Conversion Process. The learning outcomes of this module is the knowledge of biofuel as renewable energy source. We will learn the carbon neutral fuel, how biofuels are carbon neutral. To discuss the production of ethanol and its application in transportation sector. To discuss the production of biodiesel and its application in transportation. To discuss the production of bio-CNG and its application in transportation sector. To identify the challenges that are faced in the collection of biomass and in the production or in the generation of the energy through these biofuels. We are going to discuss today the biofuels such as bio-CNG, biodiesel and ethanol that we are using mainly in transportation sector, that is internal combustion engines. So the type of fuels that we are going to use will be liquid or gas, because we are going to combust it inside the combustion chamber, that is in the internal combustion chamber. We will see that how the biomass is said to be a renewable energy source. We say that it is replenished every time after use. What is generally the process when we are converting this biomass into bioenergy? First, we used to harvest the crop, then we do some pre-processing. From that, we take out cellulose, semi-cellulose, oil, whatever extraction we have to do. Either we do pre-processing and take out cellulose, semi-cellulose to get it fermented or biological conversion, or we will take out the oil or extract oil or fatty acids that are within it, and then we are going to convert it into the form of the fuel that is equivalent to, in the terms of the properties of conventional fuels that are used in the IC engines. We say that these biofuels are carbon neutral. Why? Are they not going to emit carbon dioxide? Yes, they are going to emit carbon dioxide, because when we talk about the better combustion or complete combustion of fuel, and when the fuels have hydrocarbons in it, what happens? The hydrocarbon will be converted into carbon dioxide only after the complete combustion. So the emission of carbon dioxide is the indication of the complete combustion of the fuel. And if we want a better combustion efficiency, then the emission of carbon dioxide will definitely be more. So why we say that the carbon dioxide emission is less for the biofuels? When we are either we have lower combustion efficiency or we have lower carbon dioxide. The reason is that we talk about the net carbon dioxide generation. The carbon dioxide that is produced through the IC engines or internal combustion engines while using these biofuels. What happens? This carbon dioxide is again captured by or absorbed by the biomass, because for the production of food, what plants do, in the presence of sunlight, they absorb carbon dioxide for the photosynthesis process. So it is assumed that this carbon dioxide is captured or absorbed by the biomass. So what happens? The net effect, that is net carbon dioxide that is produced from these biofuels, is less rather than the petroleum fuels such as diesel and petrol. Why we are going for the biofuels? Many of the countries worldwide, say 60+ countries, have mandated to use these biofuels. Why? because nowadays the world is confronted with the twin crisis of fossil fuel depletion and environmental degradation. We are depending a lot upon these fossil fuels for energy generation, and we are not having these fuels in our country. So why we are encouraging this biofuel or bioenergy just to switch on them, so that some alternative means will be there which is locally available, resources are with us, and we will convert it to that form that we require for the internal combustion engines. Generally in India, we are commonly using biodiesel, bioethanol and bio-CNG as transportation fuels. We have butanol, methanol, FT diesel, DME, hydrogen, hydrogen, number of fuels which are renewable as well, biodegradable when generated from this biomass. They are bioenergy, but we are using widely biodiesel, bioethanol and bio-CNG. Biodiesel, as the name indicates, the properties are equivalent to diesel and it works in any diesel engine or oil burner. The diesel engine works on the principle of compression ignition engine. It means it is injected in a high temperature, high pressure atmosphere. Environment is high temperature, high pressure, and we inject the homogeneous mixture of this biodiesel in the form of very fine droplet. It atomizes, catches fire and is combusted there, and the power is generated. Ethanol is used as a substitute for gasoline, that is petrol, and is used in petrol engine. What is difference between diesel engine and petrol engine? Petrol engines are generally a spark is induced to ignite the fuel first, and then that ignited spark is used for the combustion. For bio-CNG case, it could be used as an alternative to both diesel and petrol engine. In petrol engine, ignition is involved and is done, whereas in case of diesel engine, the fuel has to self-ignite. How it will be self-ignited? Because the CNG is not that fuel. So what we do, we use this bio-CNG in diesel engines in dual fuel mode. What happens in dual fuel? First we inject diesel and the combustion process starts. Once the process starts, we start feeding CNG as well. So only some part of CNG is there. It is not running on whole soul. So they are dual fuel engine. It will be running on diesel completely, and it will be running on CNG only for the pilot injection. Now what are these biofuels? They are defined as the fuels which are produced from the biological sources having the striking similarity in the physiochemical properties and the combustion properties, such as if we go for biodiesel, it is having similar physical chemical properties and combustion properties as diesel. For ethanol, it is having similar physiochemical and combustion properties as diesel. These are produced through contemporary biological process such as agriculture and anaerobic digestion, rather than a fuel produced by geological process such as those involved in the formation of fossil fuels such as coal and petroleum. So what happens, this diesel and petrol are produced from the biological process, is not produced from the biological process. It is just derived from the petroleum product through distillation and all. Now why we want biofuel? Socio-economic benefits. Why we are having socio-economic benefits? As we have already talked that it is locally available. If it is locally available and we are going to extract oil, we are going to do the processes. So but obvious, our social development will be there. We will utilize our own resources, and it will be more economical as well, because we are not going to import it or export it. We are just going to produce it there and use it there. So transportation cost will be also less. Self-reliant in energy, as we are depending a lot upon the other countries for meeting our energy demand. If we will encourage biofuels or bioenergy, we are going to be self-reliant in energy. Then environmental sustainability. These fossil fuels emit lot of smoke and they are degrading our environment daily. When we are going to produce bioenergy from the waste and the product is cleaner as well, so what will happen? Our environmental sustainability will be increased. If you remember, in the days in Delhi when there was no CNG, if people go out for 5 to 7 kilometers, when they come back, there were a black deposit on their face, hands, and even on their clothes. But when we have switched to the CNG, compressed natural gas, the environmental is clean, there is no smoke, it is perfectly clean. Then policy and regulatory framework. Our policy says that we have to encourage the use of these biofuels. So these are why we are going to increase. Now the biofuels that we are going to discuss in length are biodiesel, ethanol and bio-CNG. Let's introduce these biofuels. These biofuels are categorized into 4 generations now. In first generation, what happened? We derived these fuels from food-based materials such as corn, molasses and vegetable oils. But what happened? When we are not having enough food and many people are starving and dying because of the limited food, is it wise to produce the fuel or energy from these things? No. So we switched over to the second generation of biofuels and produced these fuels from the non-food materials like residue, wood and the plants which produce oil which are not used for the edible purposes such as jatropha, karanja, etc. Then we Indians, we found everything useful for our own things. So what happened? We have seen that these jatropha, karanja, neem, they have very good medicinal property. So we thought that we will use it for the medicine and we are not going to produce biofuel from them. Then the researchers again focused that what else could be done to produce these biofuels, and we switched over to the third generation biofuel and produced these biofuels from the algal material. Algal is an utter waste. It is not used for any fruitful thing. Though net carbon dioxide emission is less in case of biofuel, but why we are not going to minimize it further? So we went for the fourth generation of biofuels and produced these biofuels using non-arable land and have done the sequestration and storage of carbon first, and then we go for the treatment of these plants. So the carbon dioxide emission was further reduced. Now comes the biodiesel. How it is formed? Biodiesels are generally produced from the oil, which are the methyl esters, and these fatty acids are produced through the transesterification process. This fatty acid reacts with the methanol and produce biodiesel, and we get glycerol as a byproduct. We go for 2 stages of transesterification process. It depends upon the content of the fatty acids that are available in the feedstock from which we are going to prepare biodiesel. If we are going to prepare biodiesel from the oil which is having saturated fatty acid more, the stages for the transesterification process will be different. And if we are going for the preparation of the biodiesel from the feedstock which is having unsaturated fatty acids more, the stages for the transesterification process will be more. Generally, if we take 1 kg of fatty acid and 0.1 kg of alcohol, we get 0.1 kg of glycerol and 1 kg of biodiesel. So there is no waste. ethanol that we were using is converted into the glycerol. What are the various feedstocks that we are using for the production of biodiesel? Jatropha, Karanja, neem. We are using used cooking oil. We are using waste from the refining of the oil, that is known as acid oil. Sunflower, rapeseed, palm and soya bean. These are used widely in the foreign countries. In India, we are not using edible things. Now comes the properties. Properties of biodiesel such as density, flash points, sulfur content, water and sediment, total carbon content, viscosity, calorific value. These all are in the range of diesel. Then comes the ethanol. Ethanol is the fuel for petrol engine. In India, what we do, we take out the molasses from the sugarcane industries and then ferment it and then produce ethanol. In USA etc., they use food grains. They do hydrolysis, and from the hydrolysis they get glucose, and this glucose is further fermented into ethanol. In India also we are going for the 2G ethanol production. What it is, we do pre-treatment first of the biomass, and what we do, we take out cellulose and hemicellulose from it during the pre-treatment. Then we do the hydrolysis of this cellulose and hemicellulose and get glucose and xylose, and then we fermentate it into ethanol. This is known as 2G ethanol process. Biomethanation. Biomethanation is the procedure or the process we are going to follow for the production of bio-CNG. In this process, first we do separation of biomass. Similar kind of biomass is separated. For they could be on the basis of the size, they could be on the basis of the feedstock, they could be on the basis of the fermentation required for them. Then comes the pulverization. In the pulverizer, we used to chop them in the smaller pieces so that the fermentation should be easier. Then this goes to the mixing tank. From the mixing tank, it goes to the digester. In the digester, anaerobic digestion takes place, and after the process of anaerobic digestion, we separate out the solid digestate and use it as a manure and all, and we separate out liquid digestate, and these are also used as liquid fertilizers. Then we go the clean fuel that is there in the holder, we take them out in the bio-CNG holder. This bio-CNG holder contains the fuel which is known as bio-CNG, and it could be used for the production of power, heat. Heat is the low grade energy, so the CNG that is of lower grade is used for the production of heat. The higher grade CNG is used in the power plants and is used to produce electricity and is given to the grids. And if this bio-CNG that we have collected from the holder is upgraded and purified, then we use it in the transportation sector as well. What purification and upgradation of this bio-CNG will be needed? It should be the moisture free, there should be no ash content there, there should be no sulfur content there, and moreover we are going to modify the parameters such as density, viscosity, and if possible the calorific value as well, and then we are going to use it in the transportation sector. We need the bio-CNG which is having very less sulfur, nitrogen and hydrocarbons, so that only methane is there, and we will use it as a cleaner fuel for the transportation sector. This bio-CNG could be used in diesel engine and petrol engine as well. In biomethanation processes, generally two-stage process is there. First is hydrolysis and second is acidogenesis. In hydrolysis, we break down the organic material into simple molecules such as sugar, fatty acids and amino acid. this sugar. If we are getting sugar, then this sugar could be used for the production of ethanol as well. If we need ethanol, we could segregate this sugar product for the fermentation and could produce ethanol. If we want to produce biomethanation, we have to go for the acidogenesis process. Fatty acids, if we are after hydrolysis we are getting fatty acids, and these fatty acids are capable enough to produce biodiesel. We could get it for the generation of the biodiesel either through the trans-esterification or esterification. Sometimes these fatty acids need acidogenesis process as well, and then we go for the biodiesel production. And amino acids, generally all these products are used for the generation of the methane, biomethane or bio-CNG. Then after hydrolysis we go for the acidogenesis process. In acidogenesis process, the products after hydrolysis are converted into volatile fatty acids. The products that we are getting from the hydrolysis are known as hydrolyzed organic matter, because they are organic matter either in the form of sugar, that is glucose and lactose, or in the form of the fatty acids that are methyl esters and amino acids. These all are organic matter. So this hydrolyzed organic matter, why hydrolyzed? Because we have gone through the process of hydrolysis in which they are broken into simple molecules, and then we convert them into the volatile fatty acids. This volatile fatty acid is used for the biomethanation process. We not use this volatile fatty acid directly for the production of biodiesel. We have to reduce the volatility factor, and then only we go for the production of the biodiesel. The CNG that is generated from this process could be used in the cylinders as well. We have to do the bottling of the CNG in the plant, and these could be used as the bio-CNG cylinders, which will be very similar to the CNG cylinders that we are using these days normally. The main difference in the CNG produced through this process of bio-CNG and CNG is that the NOx emission for this bio-CNG will be more rather than the CNG that we are getting directly. And the biomethanation process that we are going here and the production of biogas is also similar. The only difference is that we are going to upgrade the fuel. We are going to purify this fuel further so that it could be more cleaner and it could not choke our injector and all when we are using it in the transportation sector. If we talk about the emissions from this bio-CNG, we are having very less smoke. The odor is also not there. So this is a cleaner fuel. Either if we are comparing it with petrol, then also it is cleaner. If we are comparing it with diesel, then also it's cleaner. The only problem with these fuels are the NOx emission. NOx emissions are very high because the temperature inside the cylinder is very high in case of the petrol engine, and NOx emission with this CNG is more. This NOx emission leads to acid rain etc. as well, so we have to control it. And the NOx emission could be controlled very easily. What we could do to reduce the NOx emission, we could do exhaust gas recirculation. If the exhaust gas will be recirculated, the temperature will be maintained there and the NOx emission will be lower. To reduce this NOx emission, we could also vary the compression ratio. We could also vary the injection timing. If we talk about the biodiesel, in case of biodiesel, what are the limitations for the uses of biodiesel? First is that we are not getting the thermal efficiency equivalent to the diesel. Why? Because an engine which is manufactured for the fuel, considering the physiochemical properties of the diesel, and when we are using a different fuel in that engine, it is quite obvious that we have to change something. So if we are going to modify the engine for the biodiesel, we could use 100% biodiesel even without blend. If we are going to use in the existing engine, we have to go for the blends. What are the advantages of using this biodiesel? We reduce the carbon dioxide emission because the combustion is complete when we are using biodiesel. When the efficiency is decreased, NOx emission is increased obviously, but NOx emission could be reduced by using exhaust gas recirculation, by changing the injection timing, and by changing the compression ratio of the engine as well. Then comes this ethanol. Ethanol is a cleaner fuel and could be used in the petrol engine. We are going for the 5 to 10% blend nowadays for this ethanol. So basically, when we are using these biofuels in the transportation sector, we are minimizing the carbon monoxide production, unburnt hydrocarbon production, because the combustion is complete here. Smoke is also not there. Smoke is reduced compulsory completely. And then comes the this unburnt hydrocarbons, because the combustion is complete, so unburnt hydrocarbons are also not there. Then comes sulfur dioxide. Sulfur dioxide is also not there because the sulfur content is lower in this fuel. Sulfur content is also lower in this fuel. Now, what are the challenges in using biomass? Biomass handling challenges are mainly low density, significant processing is required, transportation and storage. The collection is also difficult. The residue is not available throughout the year. Sometimes we will get, sometimes we will not get. No single feedstock could cater across the year or across the country. In every state there is a different feedstock for the biomass, and the conversion technology for all the biomass is different. Even if we go for the transesterification of sunflower oil, the process will be different, the parameters will be different. And if we are going for the transesterification of jatropha, the process and the parameters will be different. So different feedstock, different methodology for the conversion. So it is quite difficult to rely on a single technology. If the feedstock varies, technology will also vary. It takes considerable energy to produce biofuels. To generate energy, if we are giving more energy, is it wise or not? We have to think about. So let us sum up what we have learned today. Bioenergy could be used for the transportation sector. The only thing we have to keep in mind is that it should be the cleaner fuel, it should have less moisture content, the density and viscosity will be at par with the petroleum fuels. We can use biodiesel, CNG, bio-CNG and ethanol for the engines. We have also discussed that what are the process for production of biodiesel, ethanol and CNG, bio-CNG, how they are beneficial for us, and why we are going to use this biofuels in our country. Thank you very much.